My name is Danielle, and I've struggled with substance abuse for about 17 years. And I started out not as a believer in Christ. My family didn't really attend church, but we had a pretty normal household, father and mother together, and I had dreams as a child. I wanted to become a veterinarian at first, and then an accountant as high school came about. But before those dreams could be fulfilled, there were some challenging circumstances that happened in my teen years, which led to a pretty long life of substance abuse. And not knowing God made it even more difficult. At about the age of 13, I started experimenting. I had an older sister. She's a couple years older than me, and with her experimentation led to mine a little bit earlier. So I experimented with the alcohol and marijuana at first. And I used to feel as though that led me into a situation where I was raped as a 15-year-old child, and it was very hard to cope with. I didn't want to tell anybody about the things that happened to me, so I didn't, and I held it inside. And not knowing God, I didn't know that He was there for me to be able to share it with. At first, I felt that the rape was my fault because I was under the influence. Even though the man was much older than me, I still felt like I played a part in that. I had already kind of felt like I hadn't fit in school, and that just kind of made me withdraw deeper. I started really cutting my friends off, not feeling like I was the same as they were and wanting to be around them. Which led even into even harder drugs, using harder drugs as cocaine. I was smoking crack when I was a senior in high school. And after high school, I got into a physically abusive relationship for about 2 years. And cocaine was the main drug to help me cover that abuse, not to feel that. After high school, the addiction had already taken hold, so I felt as though I just needed to go make money. I didn't really follow any dream that I had thought that I would follow. And I did. I went to school later, but I was in the restaurant industry and making money to keep getting high. I felt like I wasn't good enough for everybody else. Everybody else seemed to have their lives all together, and I felt as though I could never achieve that. Later, I came to realize that I just didn't know how to cope with my feelings that I had. I realized I had a problem with drugs probably when I was about 18 or 19. But realizing that there was something better than that didn't come until about 6 months ago. I tragically lost my sister to a heroin overdose, and it was a really big wake-up call for me that things were changing. And I admitted myself into Centerstone, their 30-day program, and worked through that. And in working through that, people started calling for us to believe in something higher than ourselves. And I had a very big realization that there has to be something higher than me. What I'm doing isn't working, and all the people that I envied and were doing well seemed to know of something else. So I started asking questions about God and Jesus, and specifically the one about how evil is allowed on the earth, why He allows that to happen to us. And the answer just took my breath away. It was pretty much an answer that set me on my journey with Christ. In Centerstone, before I came to the realization that God is my higher power. One of the texts there mentioned counting green lights instead of red lights as a way to build your self-esteem and confidence. And the analogy of counting the green lights just reminds me now of watching for the small blessings that God gives you every day. Waking up, hearing the birds, enjoying a great group of ladies every day at the Beauty for Ashes home. The small things, seeing my children smile, hearing my mom's voice, and spending time with my grandmother, who will probably be joining the heavens here. She's older, but they're the smallest, most wonderful blessings that I have and count on these days. So I have 3 children. Riley is my son, he's 10, and Chloe and Kayla are my twin daughters, and they're 9. And they are a handful. I wouldn't have it any other way. So, that was another thing besides the loss of my sister, was realizing that I had grown so far away that I didn't know their enjoyments anymore. Riley always played soccer, so that's what I always signed him up for, and one day he begged me to take him to play baseball. And we spent hours playing baseball. And my arm was actually hurting by the time we were done. But that was a really good day that I had after she passed away, and God allowed me to have that good day, to see that there is good here on earth. And in learning about God and how to start walking as Christ did, I decided that it was going to take way more than 30 days to get my life back on track. And one of the counselors recommended the Beauty for Ashes house. And when I researched it, learning to live as Christ did is priceless. It's the most beneficial way to raise your family and have a purpose in your life. That our work here on earth isn't just for here, that it's for eternity. Having a purpose is one of the most important things I've learned as well. Before coming to the Beauty for Ashes home and starting to learn everything there is, which I know will take a lifetime, but to learn all there is about God, I didn't have a whole lot of hope. I was just running around the streets, and my focus was how I was going to get high next. Now I have dreams for my family, and I have aspirations for my career, and they're all for God's purpose. The cafe I would love to start would be the Jars of Clay Cafe, where people can come in and enjoy a meal, a coffee, do a Bible study, and just have a nice, wholesome place to come and have their hearts filled with some joy. And then as far as my family, as a child, I didn't have God there. You know, He's our never-failing Father, and I think if I would have had Him in my life earlier, I could have turned out differently. And to be able to offer that to my children and to disciple them about Him, it lightens my worry about them. It really does.